Welcome back to our jaw-dropping episode of Stream It. We're going to pick our favorite, or some of our favorite,
Right.
jaw-dropping moments of television so far that we could think of on the top of our heads yesterday.
In a 5-minute pre-production meeting.
Yeah.
We got some good ones.
Yeah, we got a big list. But before that, we're gonna talk about episodes 2 and 3 of Russian Doll that we watched for today. Glad that we made it 2 episodes instead of just the one.
Yeah.
Well, they're little 25-minute episodes, so it's easy to go through. And the last time we just watched one, I was like, oh, I want to know more.
Yeah.
And then
Well, now
Had to
episode 3, not to like jump way ahead, the end of it was such a cliffhanger,
yeah.
That was really
which was in the trailer, but
This is also kind of fun that we're watching this together.
yeah.
I know.
I like it. This is a good.
We all know the same thing.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's fresh-ish in our
Yeah.
mind. So.
Yeah.
I like that she started to put stuff together. First, she was so dead set on what was ever in the funny cigarette that was just making her hallucinate.
Yeah.
And then she went in, they did that montage where she kept trying to leave and she kept slowly trying to walk down the steps and then she kept dying.
Stairs.
And then
she ends up going to the fire escape.
yeah.
What was wrong with the stairs?
It's a long story involving multiple deaths.
Yeah, this is much safer.
But before even that, someone's like, this is your party, you can't leave. And it like dawned on her. She's like, oh, I have to spend the night at the party to survive.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I didn't even put that together.
yeah, so then she twice woke up. And then the first time she did, she said, wait, I'm not taking the stairs, and walked out the fire escape with her friend.
Yeah.
And that's when the fire escape thing kind of like, okay, I can leave going down the fire escape.
Yeah. So let's take it back for a sec. Where did we leave off? Season 1, episode 1, she had just,
The cat disappeared and she fell in the river, I think.
and then she woke up and did she make it? She was like walking down the street or something, and I mean, I just watched it. Yeah, it was just pretty much after the cat disappeared.
Yeah.
And she's like pretty confused.
She yells at the homeless guy and says, stay away from me, and walks down the street, right?
Yeah.
And that's like where it ends. You're like, oh, she's still alive.
And then so episodes 2 and 3, she's trying to find help from her friends,
The rabbi.
her like aunt maybe,
Yeah, I'm wondering
Who's like a
who
therapist?
she is.
Yeah.
and she's trying to figure out what's going on, right? And then try different things to help her figure that out. She's kind of thinking she's going crazy, and for a while she was thinking it was the joint. That was kind of the first lead that she
Yeah.
kind of did.
And then once she met with the aunt lady and the rabbi, she falls down a hole again and wakes back up. So we were saying how we thought she was going to wake up in her apartment. Like, she made it through the night, so now it's going to reset at this point.
Oh, yeah.
But it resets at the apartment.
Right.
So,
But no, it's back to the party.
back to the party. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
And that's when the montage, like, takes place.
That was a question for me, was like, can she move that, like, reset time? So, like, maybe she's got this condition that she's always getting reset, but she can, like, get through a day and then, like, get a new reset spot. But it hasn't happened yet. Every time she does, she goes back to the party, right? So far.
Yeah,
And
which
then-
is why she thought the apartment that like the party is in had a connection, and that's why she went to the rabbi and was like,
To see
"Is
if-
this place
Yeah.
haunted?"
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
once it wasn't the joint, when she ran into, like she tracked down the Israeli guy, and then she kind of closed that lead. I loved the quick, maybe there's something with her mom that
right,
mom
yeah.
was like
Yeah.
sick, and that's with the aunt or therapist person. But then I loved, that was kind of funny when she's like, nobody locks us up. She like talking to her medallion that her mom gave her.
Yeah.
Nobody locks us up. That was great, because she like crashed the ambulance almost on purpose to get out of that.
And then
And then she went to the rabbi and tried to like, so she's taken some steps to try to figure
she
it out.
also, in there, talked to the guy at the convenience store and said, how's your friend that was really sick last night?
yeah.
And he had no recollection.
Yep.
But then she saw him on the street like
Later, yeah.
later.
So there's a lot of tying in. But then, so at first I thought, okay, so she has to stay at the party. So she just lives it up at the party. She wakes up.
like a couple times.
Yeah. There's the weird two little things that are still like out there that you're trying to connect. Like, it consistently pops up that she has that meeting at work.
Yep.
Like, it keeps coming back, even when she's like, I'm not going to that. She dies, and then it pops up again. Like,
Well, it's going to be interesting to create this show like this because you have to be consistent with all
Right.
that stuff. So, but it could have bigger meaning too.
you're right. And then,
The time she went to it was great when she was just like, "Yeah, I can fix it."
Yes.
Yeah.
And things started.
Like, Carpe diem.
and she kind of,
that, yeah.
and the phone rang, and she just says to a group of employees, "Oh, that's my drug dealer. I gotta go."
So I loved when she went to the rabbi the first time and is like, please let me in. And the woman's like, I'm not letting some random single woman in. And she's like, do you think I'm trying to hook up with the rabbi?
I don't know what you're trying to do.
Yeah. I think it was the second episode ending is when she says like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, we're just gonna keep partying here forever. Like, there'll never be another Thursday again. Like, this is our
Yeah.
life now. Like, nothing's changing. And then she walks by the flowers and the flowers are dying.
Yeah.
So time is still moving. But even though like the events are happening the same, like things are still like aging and dying. So
Oh, yeah,
it's kind of creepy.
yeah.
And then in the third episode, things start to. That's when she discovers, no matter what, I can take the fire escape, and she'll be fine because she actually leaves a party. So she goes with the homeless man. He cuts her hair. She freezes to death. She wakes back up at the party, and she's like, can't talk. I gotta go, and she just takes the fire escape. But still
Well, I
during the
don't know if
party.
I think she might be able to take the stairs, but
Oh, I don't know, because
I think she just chooses the fire escape because it's like she's traumatized.
well, yeah, but it seemed like every time she tried to take the stairs, she would die. It's like
But didn't she do it in the beginning?
I was wondering that too when she yeah.
Did it with John there, the husband.
Yeah.
Like before. So I think she can. I think she's just traumatized because so many times she
Yeah.
like, just happened to
Okay,
die.
so that still that makes sense.
I'm just saying I don't think it's like a
And
she
she's-
can't. I
yeah.
think she could, but there's just such a high chance that she's gonna.
So then she watches the guy's shoes. Excuse me, I'm yawning. And then he says, "I want to cut your hair."
Yeah. There's a lot of funny like. I mean, I'm sure we'll get some connections, but we brought up the meeting, the Monday meeting, the homeless guy,
The cat.
the cat.
The cat,
There's just
yeah.
like a lot of the flowers. There's just a lot of like untied loose ends right now that some of them I think will start to string together and be like, oh, like that's why this is happening, and then maybe we'll be able to start to figure out like what how she's gonna solve it and stuff. So.
But yeah, and then at the very end, she's in the elevator, and the guy's
It was a funny interaction
Yeah.
too.
hey, didn't you get the memo?
We're about to die.
And he was like, I do it all the time.
She's like, what? Dead.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I'm now like since her and the homeless man freeze together, she was like, oh, he might die tonight. So I'm wondering if like, what about the other people in the elevator? Is she now like, because when she died with the homeless man, she was like, oh shoot, like I need to go watch his shoes
Oh yeah.
because he's gonna die just by himself now. So
Right,
like
right,
I'm
right.
wondering now like if that's always the case. Like if she dies with other people, are they always gonna
Die.
So would the elevator malfunction if her and the other guy aren't in it, or would they just go up and down? Because they're always
Yeah,
dying.
That's true. Maybe it doesn't happen if they're not in it.
It's almost like a video game where you just you play and you have to pick the right option, or you just keep getting sent back.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, not again.
I wonder too if like she chose to watch the guy's shoes. I don't know if it's like her becoming a better person, kind of like a Freaky Friday thing. Like you have to find like.
I haven't seen that one.
It's like a classic,
I know what it is, yeah.
remake, but they like have to like
grow.
grow to understand each other, and that's why they got switched.
Hmm.
But she needs to like grow and be a better person, I guess, or I don't know. She seems like a fine person, but maybe there's like a lesson to learn, and then that will help it or change it. So she's trying to like save people, maybe, or at least help them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Especially with the ex-boyfriend storyline. That would kind of make sense because, like, he's really into her clearly, and
Yeah.
she's like, he's
Doesn't
like, you're
handle
the
it great.
abyss.
Yeah.
Like, I need to let go of you. Like, you're awful for me. And I think, did he say that he was married when he started to date her? Is
think-
that what the
I think they were
problem
both
is?
in a relationship. It seemed
I
like.
understand that he was maybe married and had a kid. Yeah, because
And
he
he-
says, "Don't use my kid against me,"
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But they had an affair. He left his family for her, and then she was like, "No, it's too much pressure," and so he like blew up his life for
Yeah.
her for nothing, basically. I think they said that at one point. But yeah, I don't know what'll happen with that. But I feel like if there is like a cursed situation or something like that, then maybe there's ways to help it. And she's slowly figuring it out. I also like how every time she dies, she kind of gets a new lead almost. So like now she's in the elevator. She found this guy.
So that's what I feel like
she's gonna, like-
episode 4 is going to be like.
She's gonna try to find the guy, right? So it's like, and after she died, froze to death, she like went back to the guy and watched his shoes, and like, you know what I mean? Like she's constantly getting like one step further
Yeah.
each time. So I think that's kind of a cool way to show her like progress, and you know.
You know what I was thinking? This is more towards like the actual production of it. You already do like 20 takes of the scene.
That's what I was thinking.
Like how many?
The bathroom scene every time she walks out.
Yeah, and she's like, "There's my birthday girl" or whatever.
Oh my God.
It's
And
you
there's
just
like 40 different conversations with her and
Yeah.
the friend. Like they must have shot that constantly.
Yeah. It's just, I wonder if they just started improvising, if they just were like,
Yeah.
because
How many takes do
the
we have?
friend
of-
cooking the chicken, she just says the same thing every time.
Although I wonder if
Yeah.
it was easier because like, it's kind of like we can get a lot done
Right.
in this one. We've got episodes worth of content.
Yeah.
With this one setup.
True. Yeah. You just stay in
All
that
right,
same
like
spot.
conversation number 1, go. Conversation number 3, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they like keep shooting the same stuff.
Like,
But-
it's so possible that every scene that we see with, like, the happy birthday baby, like,
Yeah.
they could have done the whole season's worth of that scene in, like, one day, probably, if they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, like, keep going.
Yeah. Or like coming out of the bathroom when the other women
Yeah.
come in,
Oh, those
and
are
she's just like sidesteps them, and sometimes she's like, you know,
I love that.
she's so annoyed at
Yeah.
that point.
And
Or
how-
all the bathroom scenes where
Well,
she's like
yeah,
in the mirror.
I was just gonna
Like,
say how she must have just been like, say the line, reset, say the line,
Yeah.
just like
spit out this water.
yeah, and then
Check your hair.
but also you say like say she says like not again, she does that like 10 times.
Yeah.
Like it's just funny. I was thinking like wow, this must have got really repetitive.
Yeah, that and having the continuity of it all, like the party, the blocking for all the people, and like everybody in the right spots, like just over and over again, and then the events that come up. Even the like Monday meeting
Yeah.
thing. Every time she lives through the night, she has to get the Monday update. Also, who's throwing this like crazy party
On a
Sunday
Sunday.
night?
I was thinking that same thing. Like, but unless it was like it's your birthday,
This is the day.
yeah. I think
Maybe it's just
Is it a
New
New
York.
York thing?
I was just gonna say I think it's like
Every night is.
a city thing. Maybe the bigger cities that people don't even like care because you just like walk to work.
Yeah.
I
So.
liked the line where I think she might be calling the drug dealer when she's like, I know that Mondays are your Saturdays,
Yeah.
so I really need you to call me back.
Yeah. That was funny.
Oh god. Well, yeah. So I'm excited to see what happens next. She's got a lead with that guy who also has died before.
Yeah.
Might have a second storyline coming in now if
Yeah.
they show you his point of view.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm always wondering if we can make it to like 24 hours. And well, we did once, but she froze to death. Make it to like
yeah.
Tuesday. Let's see if we can get to Tuesday.
Yeah.
And she wakes up and is like, that's depressing. It froze to death.
Yeah.
Oh, when I was watching, I was wondering. I had just a kind of a abstract idea. Imagine if she like figured it out and lived her like whole life like anyone would, and they're not gonna die hopefully anytime soon, right? And she's like 80,
And she
And then
just kills herself.
No, she finally dies and goes back to the party. Like has a family, has like a whole life, and
that'd be
then
terribly
gets like
sad.
zipped back. And you'd be
Well,
like,
I guess you could relive it again.
that would suck though.
Oh my
Imagine
god! Like
if she-
series finale. That was how it ended.
Right? She's just like 80 years old and like dies of old age, and then gets back to her like 36-year-old self at a party. And it's like, no, not again. That'd be rough, right?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too how she's not fully convinced that she's not already like fully dead.
Right.
Like she almost thinks like maybe I'm in like a weird in between,
Yeah.
and this is like I'm suffering right
Yeah.
now.
I'm wondering too if they're gonna get into a like we're kind of pulling at it a little bit, but like a curse or like a reason why. And I don't know how they're gonna introduce that, or even if they will. I guess they could go without it.
Well, I'm also.
But I feel like we need like an answer to that. You know what I mean? Like if you were writing a movie or a show or something, you'd be like, all right, so why does this? Here's this girl, she dies, she gets back to life. Like that's a great premise. But you're gonna like, if you were creating that, you'd be like, all right, well, why is this happening? And I feel like they're gonna have to show that at some point. You know
it
what I
has
mean?
to be like kind of a good reason too.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
I can't come up with anything. Like I have
Yeah.
no idea why you'd be dying unless it's like a curse, like a Freaky Friday thing
Yeah.
or something. But that almost seems
Played and.
Too easy.
yeah, too easy. So like I'm really curious to see like
Well, I'm wondering, like, the name Russian doll. What does that have to? She's obviously Russian,
yeah.
but aren't Russian dolls a thing you open and there's a little one, and you open and there's a smaller one?
And one of the like
Yeah, that is
show
there.
posters is that, but it's her.
So
It's
yeah,
her
it's
coming out.
it's like, I don't know if it's like these actions are creating these like, this big action is creating a smaller one, or like vice versa. These little things are creating. I don't know. I just wonder if it's like a.
Yeah, or it could be her process. Like she's the big one right now, and she's got to like get down to the.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out exactly how that like, because you can tell it makes sense in there, like the whole idea of a Russian doll,
Yeah, yeah.
but just not like exactly
it's not
how.
on the nose yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm curious to see what that like big plot point is. That's like this is why it's all happening, because I feel like it's gonna be somewhat creative. And, I mean, you can do a lot with that premise, even if it is just like a curse or something. But they already like went for it with the building's curse.
Yeah, maybe they
Haunted.
were trying to weed you out. Like, hey, there's no curse, there's no like
Yeah.
paranormal or anything.
She's like eliminating stuff for us.
Yeah.
Everything that you're like, maybe it's this. She kind of in the episode is like,
Right.
maybe
Even
it's
like
that.
yeah, even like the universe, she's like, bring it on, universe! Like I don't care. Like I don't know. So there's
Then
gotta
doesn't
be,
she fall down the hole after she says that?
I think
She
that-
dies
yeah.
after.
Yeah. Well, but I'm just saying, there's got to be something, and she's kind of is like addressing them. So
And if there's a second season coming, which there is now, are we even gonna really find it out in this first season?
Yeah, we'll be left with another like episode
well,
3
there is
cliffhanger.
like in like horror movies, you have monsters that you never see sometimes. It's just like the impending, you know what I mean? So there is ways that they could like not tell us for a while, but I don't know. I feel like
Yeah. We'll have to see.
yeah.
What did we just? What did?
All this
Is it 8 episodes?
I think it's 8.
nice?
Sweet.
So then,
Almost halfway through.
So should we do 2 more for?
yeah. Oh, that works out perfectly because then we'll have
Just
the last 2 for.
well, no, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, and then we can do
the
the finale,
by
yeah,
itself,
by itself.
which would be good. Because we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So 4 and 5 for next time.
That's right. So make sure you watch your
Watch
your
it.
next episodes, and you can follow along with us.
Okay, so moving on to our pick of jaw-dropping moments in TV. And we came up with a lot.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, big spoilers.
If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, Westworld, Stranger Things, The Office, Good Place, Dexter, and The Sopranos, maybe skip ahead.
Yeah.
And come back.
Yeah.
But if you have, you can see if you agree
Bookmark
with us
it.
on
Yeah, and if you
these
don't care.
jaw-dropping moments.
Yeah, okay. So we have a few from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's a
it's-
pretty epic show for the recent like
I
TV watchers.
I would say every season was based after the first season. Every season was based around like what are they gonna do next to throw you off. That's why everyone watched.
Yeah.
Like it was an incredible show, start to finish,
Yeah.
every part. But that is what like kept me drawn.
They did
I
have
was
a
like,
lot of wow moments.
I was like, okay, I like this person, so now I'm gonna sit here and wait till they are killed off.
Yeah. And not only were the concepts wow, the way they filmed it,
Yeah.
did it, shot it was so grand and like awesome. And yeah, off the bat, that show was like every time,
The end of
every episode, every season, there was like a huge, and they like we don't care, we'll kill people off. Like
The first, other than the little like prelude where they show 3 members of the Night's Watch, the first regular character you see is Bran, and then at the end of the first episode, he's pushed out a window. So you're like, what?
yeah.
So
I mean, we've got a couple here, but we could probably just riff off.
yeah, exactly,
So
yeah.
funny.
So Bran out the window. Also, when Rickon died sorry to jump like to season 6.
Yeah.
But when he was out in the field, and then they were gonna do
Ramsay,
the Battle
yeah.
of the Bastards and like trade
Yeah.
him, and they shot him with an arrow. I was like, oh snap!
Oh yeah, there were just so many different things.
Like every episode had one in a
Yeah.
lot of seasons.
Yeah.
That's why like the first 2 episodes of the last season, everyone was like, oh, that was a setup episode, I guess. But like, come on, where's the surprise?
Yeah.
The Starbucks cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other big one for me was I'm a big Jon Snow fan, but when for the Night's Watch.
Oh yeah,
for
for
the
the
watch.
watch. Yeah.
That was crazy.
That was the last time I was ahead of the show.
You were ahead of the shit.
So I knew it was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But when I read the book,
reading the books.
yeah, when I read it in the book, I think I was reading it on a Kindle or a computer screen. I X'd out. I was like,
What?
no.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. That was that was the one time I almost, because I was watching that season with you.
Yeah.
I almost came with we didn't watch that episode together. I almost came with obviously my phone, but I was going to record knowing full well like
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
yeah.
That was my freshman year at college when that episode premiered, I think. And I hadn't watched any of the show yet, but a lot of my friends did. And one of my friends put it on her Snapchat story.
Oh, that's
and
lame.
Immediately got like a bunch of texts. And some of them like weren't even people she's friends with, just like on her Snapchat list. And they were like, I hate you. Like I
man.
was
Yeah.
starting it in 5 minutes and you just ruined it for me. Like people were so mad.
That's bad form.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't do that.
So then when I started the show like a year later, I was like, well,
I know.
Yeah.
I know what happens in like 5 seasons. So
That's a bummer. Oh, I hate that.
That is rough. Some other ones we had were right off the bat, Ned Stark getting his.
I think that's what started it. That started the
Yeah.
craze for Game
Yeah.
of Thrones. Because it was like the guy that was the main character, a well-known actor, so you're like, okay, well, he's going to be in the show. It's a show with this guy.
Yeah.
That's like, I forget his name now, but he was like in Game of
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings and a lot of these other things. And it was like, okay, so
As we sin, so do we suffer. This man has confessed his crimes in sight of gods and men. The gods are just, but beloved Baelor taught us they can also be merciful. What is to be done with this traitor, Your Grace?
My mother wishes me to let Lord Eddard join the Night's Watch. Stripped of all titles and powers, he would serve the realm in permanent exile. And my lady Sansa has begged mercy for her father. But they have the soft hearts of women. So long as I am your king, treason shall never go unpunished. Sir Ilyn, bring me his head.
Put him down!
that's where you're like, I hate Joffrey.
Yeah.
And he was like the moral kind of good of the show.
Yeah.
He was neutral, just he kept things together. And then when he is gone, you're kind of like, shoot.
Yeah.
This is where things are gonna get really bad.
Someone that you like base a show off of, right? Like that's
Yeah.
your main character, the moral guy. You know what I mean? Like, and then they just kill them off.
And even the characters in the scene, including like Cersei, are like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that.
And like, Arya was like there, and it was like
Yeah.
so sad. Like it was crazy.
And then the Red Wedding.
Oh,
Which I think was the end of the
That
was
second
another-
season, or was it third?
I think the second,
Yeah.
it was later, wasn't it?
maybe.
I don't know.
They all
can't remember.
went together.
That was crazy though.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw like reactions mashed together in a montage on YouTube. I saw like people that had read the books recording people watching the show.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was insane. People were like so mad. People like screaming at the TV like, I hate this show. I'm so done. I'm done with this show.
Well, after losing Ned, you're like, all right, like here we go. Like the
Rob's
villain's
gonna
gotta
ruin it?
rally. Yeah. It's
Which-
like it all makes sense. This is where
Yeah.
it's going. And then they were like, nope.
That's what makes this show so great. It's like, oh, so I see what they're gonna do. Rob's gonna avenge his father, and they're like, yeah, that's what we
Thought
know
you'd
that.
think.
Yeah.
We're a step ahead of you. Oh man, just how they did it with this, like, it's kind of like it was a complete ambush and like so unexpected.
Not just that, it was his mom, his wife, and his unborn baby.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what was like so crazy about it. It was not like they killed him and then let what's her name? His mother's name.
Oh goodness.
Liana.
Lyanna Stark?
No.
No, that's
Catelyn.
Catelyn, yeah. Like let her go so then she would just like rally someone else, you know?
Right. Oh,
And
man.
once again, doesn't Arya see it happen? She's like about to go in. She like is on a little cart outside
Yes.
with
Oh,
the
yeah.
hound,
Yeah.
and then he takes her away.
He takes her away because someone comes out with Rob's dead wolf draped over him.
Oh, yeah.
And the hound, it's like don't look or something.
Yeah.
Anytime the wolves died too.
Yeah.
That killed me.
They did for such an important like symbolic thing in the show. Only Ghost survived. Nymeria did, but and I guess it
I feel like that kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit. Like at the first beginning,
Yeah.
they were like, this is going to be like huge. Like the wolves are going to be with
Right.
them. And they're like, oh, maybe the wolves don't have to be as big of a
I
part.
think in
And they
like a
kinda
1,500-page book, it's easier to keep them in.
Yeah.
Because in the books, like, Arya has dreams, she's running, and she's like she is Nymeria.
Yeah.
And then like, well, Ghost is just Ghost and all that stuff. And when Jon gets stabbed in the book, like, no, in the show, it's just like a slow pan of his just body with the blood growing.
Yeah.
In the book, he's just laying there like that, and he says Ghost. And then people are like, oh, well, he's just going to war into with the...
Right.
I think that's where the books ended.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So that's the last thing, like, you've read.
Yeah. Wow.
But anyways, sorry. Book talk.
Yeah.
This isn't read it.
You love the battle of the.
Mountain versus the Red Viper.
That's like your favorite.
Yes. Because, first of all, Pedro Pascal, come on.
Yeah, he's great.
That is just starting out. He is taken off from there.
Yeah.
But it was like, here's the guy. He's like buddy with Tyrion. It like tricked you again.
Yeah.
It was like 2 seasons from the Red Wedding, so you're like, okay, nothing bad happens. Tyrion had killed his father, which was like a wow moment, but he killed a bad guy. You're like, okay, now we're getting the bad guys.
Right.
And he's like beating the mountain.
This huge.
And he's celebrating. Tyrion's like, wear a helmet. He's like, no. He drinks wine, and he's like, it's not going to affect me. And Tyrion's like, you're killing me here. And then he has the mountain. He poisons his spear on purpose. He has him. He has him like dead to rights. You think. And then he's like, say what you did to my wife and kids. Say it. And then he does, but at this point he's on top of him, popping his head. It was so good. Oh, I loved every minute of it. That was one.
Popping his head.
I watched that episode, and then I had a cousin like, "Oh, I didn't see the episode," and I was like, "Let's watch," because I wanted to see his reaction.
I hated it.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was
so
like the worst
good.
thing I've ever seen with my eyes.
Oh, it was so great.
That was good. Oh man,
It was definitely unexpected.
you did a great job with that one.
Yeah,
That fired me up.
you've clearly seen it more times than I would ever see it because I don't remember like anything you just said.
Oh.
It's just out of my head.
Yeah, blocked it.
That was just like the pinnacle of like, I just don't know what to expect with this show for me. It was like, just take me on this journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
And at that point, you're kind of like, shoot, what is going to happen to Tyrion?
Yeah.
That was kind of his last hope for a
Right.
while.
Yeah, because there was the trial by combat.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah.
So maybe he hadn't killed his father yet because he was in jail and then,
I don't think he did yet.
no, because he escaped jail and killed his father.
I think it was still because of
Joffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
that went on for a while.
And then another jaw-dropping thing, when he kills his father, it's just a funny, subtle thing that they do is like it was, that episode was shown on Father's Day.
Oh really?
Yeah.
When
Now this is the one you kept saying. This last one we have.
I have two more big ones.
Yeah, I've as we've talked, I've thought of some.
Yeah. Well, so at the end when we have on the papers, Jon had to kill Daenerys.
Be with me. Build the new world with me. This is our reason. It has been from the beginning, since you were a little boy with a bastard's name. And I was a little girl who couldn't count to 20. We do it together. We break the wheel together.
You are my queen. Now and always.
And that was just heartbreaking. I didn't know how they were gonna, like, Jon was in such a bind. Like, there was
I had a
good.
feeling Jon was gonna do it.
He had to do. You really?
I think it was building up because it was like she
Yeah,
can't.
I guess it was.
It was after she burned the whole city.
Which, in itself,
Yeah.
that was a jaw-dropping moment. Like an episode, the whole thing. I was like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
That was just like carnage the whole time. And that's another one with like the creating of like the cinematicness, cinemagic. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. The way they shot that, like that was so grand and huge and like unbelievable for a TV show. Even though HBO is like awesome and
They
it's like a
print
movie.
money.
Yeah, but that was incredible.
Yeah.
The detail and just an amazing. At that point too, like they had done the Battle of the Bastards. They had to keep like crushing it. And,
Yeah, they had to.
But that did not disappoint.
Step it up. Yeah.
I just remember after that episode being like, wow. But yeah, I don't know. Just the star-crossed lover thing and the dragon being right there.
Yeah.
And like so sad, and I feel like he kind of got it though, Drogon, because he was like,
Yeah, he melted the throne.
yeah, he was like this stupid rather than like he could have killed Jon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't really think you're the bad guy, but I'm pretty mad. And then pretty smart
They
for a
talk it
dragon.
out. And the way that it's kind of used a lot in movies, the whole like he stabs her while they're kissing and you don't see it, but you know something happened. So for like 10 seconds, you're kind of like, wait.
Yeah.
I actually thought
I think that was the drop. The anticipation was like
When it-
jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
when it really happened in real time, I'm watching it. knowing the show, for a second or two, I was like, she stabbed him. She anticipated it and stabbed him. Because he was like, he looked so like shocked.
Yeah.
And I was like, they did it again. They got me. But
No, that one made sense. And then, so that was a big one. But I think one of my, like, show ends, jaw still dropped, was Arya Stark coming out of nowhere, goes to kill, drops the dagger, catches it, and delivers the blow. Like, that was unbelievable. I did not see that coming. Everyone was like, Jon's going to kill the Night King.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be that way. Huge epic battle. Dragons, ice dragons, crazy. And then Arya comes out. Like, at that point, so much had been leading up to her. She had witnessed all those deaths of her family. She had a list of people to kill. She was a trained assassin at this point. The Night King was like one step ahead all the time. And the way they did that too was amazing. I loved it. She's so creative that he did stop her, and she did the sleight of hand. I think we saw that in like earlier episodes too, when she was like fighting
Brienne. Yeah.
Like, just so well done that it tied all that together, and just such an amazing way to end that. So that was probably my favorite one.
I think all of my favorite jaw-dropping moments involve her.
Oh,
I was kind of like in the show for her. Like, she was my favorite.
Yeah.
And I'm going to like butcher this whole scene. I don't really remember it. But when she is still training for like the girl with no name, and she like looks like a completely different woman and goes into the room, and it's the guy who was also at the Red Wedding, I think?
Yeah, Walder Frey.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so bad at this show. But then at the last minute, like, you don't even know that it's her as the viewer. And then she just like kills him and is like, my name is Arya Stark. And like,
She
I know, that was
she
so
poisoned all his men. She didn't let his daughter. She was him. Oh no, wait. Sorry. She kills Walder Frey. You're right. And then another time, the start of the next season, you see him, and his men don't know he's dead, and he feeds everyone poison. He says to his daughter, I'm not going to waste my wine on a woman. They all keel over and die from the poison. She pulls off the mask,
yes.
and it was her. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Cool.
One
That was awesome.
One that's not so like jaw-dropping to me. It was more like death by 1,000 cuts, but at the end of it, your jaw was dropped. Was Hold the Door.
Oh.
It was just like
That
sad.
was more like heartbreaking than it was jaw-dropping.
So
Like,
sad.
like, and it made like it like connected the
Yeah.
whole Hodor thing, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Like 6 seasons later,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when you first hear him.
like,
Oh
that's
my
his
God.
name. Oh yeah, that was a dagger.
Another one that's pretty similar is Westworld.
Mm.
Also
Another
HBO.
yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Well, Westworld for me in general is like kind of in like it's complicated. It's a more complicated show. Like Game of Thrones is epic, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, it's easy to follow. Westworld just the whole time was like, there's this place, there's robots, there's humans. It's like you can Wild West, you can do whatever you want, but actually there's like, you shouldn't. The robots have feelings. You know what I mean? It's like constantly this like moral and like there's just a lot going on, and then to throw in some of these like other wrinkles that are going on, it's just a crazy show in general. But yeah, the first one we have is finding out that Bernard is not a human and that he's a robot.
Yeah. And
When was that? The end of the...
no, it was in the middle, like middle-ish towards the end of the first season. Like more of the first season kept going
Oh, that's right.
because
Yeah,
he was in that like cabin, and someone mentioned a door, and the robots can't see like the access doors. That's like in their programming. And at one point, I don't know if it was Anthony Hopkins' character, whoever it was, said, like, open that door or right next to that door, and he says what door, and that's when you find out.
Right.
Because he was one of the original park creators, and he was like built. So the whole time you just think he's like in charge.
Yeah.
It's Bernard in charge.
Which is that's why it's such a big moment. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this guy's like not interviewing, but like
He's programming them.
talking to the robots, like trying like a huge character and making this Westworld, and then turns out.
And Maeve tells him. I think she's the one to like officially tell him, because he's trying to work on her, and she says like, oh, like, why don't we talk man to man or whatever we are? And he's like, we? And then he gets up to leave, and she says, freeze all motor functions, and he stops.
Yeah.
And that's a cool moment too.
System, I need a system.
Freeze all motor functions.
Yeah. It was like set up with the door thing, and then you see it for the first time because Maeve is also starting to take over like the robots.
Yeah. But when we do find out that the Man in Black is also
William. And that we've been operating on 2 timelines the whole season.
What? That's where it's complicated.
That's one of those
and
like
it continues to kind of do that in the further seasons.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
Because it is a little confusing, but if you can kind of separate it, it makes sense. But that was a crazy reveal because you're following. You want to know more about this Man in Black and why he is the way that he is, and then at the same time you're having his origin story play out in front of you, and it's like
With a nice guy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And it wasn't it just like a reveal, like he's looking down, when he looks up it's just like a matte shot almost. It's just like the top of his hat, and he looks up and you're like, wait a minute, it's him.
Yeah.
And he starts to like torture the brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And that's when he like really.
Yeah, that's when it like he breaks bad.
Nice.
Yeah. Every bad person wears the black hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In every show.
Yeah, like literally. And then the last one we have here is the ending of season 1. So, as we know, like the whole thing is, no matter what, the robots can't hurt you. If you're in a shootout, you just get like pinged.
Right.
With like a little whatever. But Anthony Hopkins' character, I keep forgetting his name, the guy that created it. But anyways, he's having a speech about moving on and doing like new exciting things with the park. And in that moment, Dolores comes up behind him and shoots him, and he dies. And then it's like a big fight, and it's like, oh, what you've changed is now we can die at their hands.
Yeah.
Which sets up the whole second season, but is also like, this changes everything.
Yeah.
So I had the advantage of watching that scene for this, so I like remember it. Right after Dolores shoots him, it shows that the Man in Black is in a field and being surrounded, and he gets shot, and it shows people's like different reactions of like the crowd is like panicking because they're being attacked, and then the Man in Black like smiles when he gets shot through the arm.
Yeah.
He's like happy about it and lets them keep surrounding him because he's like,
finally the game
he's
is
like,
real.
now
Yeah.
we got it. So it's just like a creepy,
That's true, yeah.
it's like disturbing almost of like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, he takes a twist.
We have a few from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
When they are on the top of the quarry and Mike falls
Oh, yeah. And she saves him.
and she saves him, that's also a big jaw-dropping moment. And you're like, oh, snap. Because that's when you first realize she has the powers, right?
Yeah, you didn't see it full force like her controlling it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Especially with something that big. She was still kind of just crushing cans and stuff.
Yeah. So that was crazy.
That's a good one.
But then, at the school, she saves,
All the kids.
All the
Everybody.
from the Demigorgon.
also epic.
And you think that she dies.
Yeah, she disappears. Yeah, you think she dies or disappears, right?
Yeah, she like goes away with it.
Yeah.
And then,
That was season 1.
because then
right?
Hopper is, the very end thing is Hopper putting Eggos in like a stump or something.
Which was also like, even though it's like not very eventful, that was kind of jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were just like, oh, so she's alive.
Yeah. She was, in the upside down or whatever.
And Will pukes up the slug.
Yeah, that for me, I guess those other ones were more like jaw-dropping, but that for me said, okay, there's something more. He's not out of the woods.
Yeah.
It's going to be like there's still the monster here. We still have to like figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And then it turned into the big like spider monster in season 2.
Yeah.
That was attacking him.
Mind Flayer.
Mind Flayer, yeah.
Yeah.
Season 2, the end too, when she's closing the portal.
Yeah.
Not so much jaw dropping, but super epic.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She was like, oh, yeah, it's crazy.
And the blood is coming out of like everything.
Yeah.
Like,
She was,
Not
that was
just the
super
nose.
intense.
and then season 3, the whole finale is really epic. But the after credits scene.
Which I didn't know about. Like, I watched season 3 for the very first episode of this, and you guys were talking about it, and I was like, wait, what? What? And I had no idea. We finished, and I went to my computer and watched it.
Ever since the Avengers, I feel like you have to just assume that everything has an after credits.
I start,
yeah.
at the end of movies, I Google, does blah, blah, blah have an after credit
yeah.
scene?
Like, can I leave now or
Yeah.
should I wait?
Oh yeah, I love waiting for that.
Yeah. So we can watch that scene.
Sure.
Yeah, let's
Just
do
to-
it. Fire it up.
There's a few things in that
We're
scene too.
it's
that are
vacation week.
exciting.
This room isn't needed.
Let me find it.
Не-не-не, не американцы.
Прошу вас. Нет, не надо, не надо. Нет, нет, пожалуйста, нет, нет, не надо. Нет, не надо. Нет, не надо. Отпустите меня. Нет, отпустите. Нет, отпустите. Не оставляй. Не надо. Выпусти меня. Выпустите меня, пожалуйста. Выпусти. Не оставляйте меня здесь. Я не виновен. Я не виновен. Я не прошу вас. Не надо.
Creepy looking. Was it that pale?
No.
Yeah. So is it the same one or a new one? Is that like the
think
big
it's a
question?
different one.
Yeah.
That's a different one that looks like it's being held captive.
Yeah.
and
So
being fed
they.
humans every once in a while.
So it seems like they took it when they were controlling the lab or something.
Yeah. So that's a lot of theories are like being built around that.
But the biggest theory everyone had was who was the American, because.
Wait a minute, what were you just saying?
Huh?
They took it?
Well, they had the thing open. When they were under the lab with the big thing at the end of season 3,
Yeah.
they may have gotten a Demigorgon.
I don't know that that's the only place you can get a Demigorgon. I feel like the Upside Down is everywhere. You just got to figure out how to...
Right. I'm just saying the Russians had control of a portal.
Right, okay, yeah, sure.
Because there's a lot of, I won't get too deep into this. There's, in the first season, the whole reason that like the, it opens up, it rhymed. It opens up because,
This episode's running a little long.
remember, 11
Oh, that was good.
sees the Demogorgon when she's spying on the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
So now people are like, how is it just a coincidence maybe that she saw the Demogorgon when she saw the Russians? Maybe like they're more connected to it than just like than just season 3. Like maybe they've been also looking into this before 11 even opened it.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
could be.
I think there might be like
You
they
think
might
it's-
have had a riff in Russia, and then they found one seismically.
Yeah, maybe there's a mirror town in Russia, like
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they did have
Hawkins.
the cage in the tunnels that like Erica and Dustin find.
Right.
So they captured it in the cage.
There's definitely more there, and that's what I think will.
But I think what had everyone talking on Twitter was
The American.
the American. Was it
Who dat?
Hopper or was it Papa?
Papa.
Yeah, the guy from season 1 that would force Elle into doing all the things.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big theory.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even
More
know
on
that.
this later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Stranger Things across
Yeah.
the board, they've got a lot of jaw-dropping, pretty intense moments.
Then this one, I guess we go a little more lighthearted here. Well, no, I shouldn't say that about the third one. But this next one, Prank Ever.
Yeah.
So that one's a little more lighthearted.
It hits me right in the feels.
Right? Because we haven't seen Michael in
2 seasons
at
at that
that
point.
point.
And honestly, he was the show. I think. You know.
Yeah.
That was huge. It was still funny and good after that. And
Yeah, the whole like more Jim Dwight pranks and
Yeah.
but yeah, it just obviously was not the same.
Not the same.
And I thought it was he does talk later and he says a classic Michael line like he does like the interview and he's like it's all your kids grew up and got like all your kids grew up and got married to each other. And but I was also saying like it would have been so perfect if the last thing he ever said was that's what she said.
Yeah.
Like that was his last line.
Yeah.
But
Did
yeah.
you know that no one in the cast knew that that was happening except for John Krasinski?
Oh really?
Girl. Yeah. So
I didn't
that was
know
like
that.
a real moment.
Huh. That's awesome.
Was that?
That's really cool.
What about Dwight?
Well, they must have just had him like
Maybe-
off
yeah.
screen or well, no, because he's got to know his line. I don't know.
Maybe
what-
he knew them, but I think that everyone else it was a complete like
Maybe he
shock.
knew the line, and I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they lied to him in the script or something.
They could have easily said like someone else shows up. And
Yeah. Just
You
say.
just say I can't believe you came.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a good one.
So then along the same lines, we have The Good Place, season 1 finale.
Eleanor, what's going on?
It took me a while to figure it out. But just now, as we were all fighting and yelling at each other and each one of us demanding we should go to the bad place, I thought to myself, man, this is torture. And then it hit me. They're never gonna call a train to take us to the bad place. They can't. Because we're already here. This is the bad place.
Oh, man. I can't believe you figured it out. Oh, God. You ruined everything. You know that?
It had been spoiled for me a couple years ago, which I think is part of the reason I never like really picked up on the show.
Yeah. Good Place is. It's got a lot of those like little twists and stuff. It's pretty good, and I think we've both watched it pretty recently. So that was a huge surprise because it's called The Good Place. They have this like paradise-ish type thing, but it's also like a mystery, right? They're like they're trying to figure it out. It's like a Sherlock thing where they finally put it all together, and it's like, wait a minute, we haven't been in paradise. We've been being tortured. Like that's what this is, and they finally put it all together, and it's like, oh snap! Like it's kind of cool.
It's rare to get a really good plot twist in like a sitcom, I feel like.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually happen.
For sure.
That was definitely like a plot-changing moment. And
Yeah.
every season since then has been completely different, like, point of view now.
Yeah.
'Cause everything's different.
True. It was cool too that it was like it was trying to say that this is the good place. This is the good place. Like you're having a good time. This is like what it should be. And for them to realize the opposite was kind of like it was like a subtle but really good twist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't this big like new thing that was introduced. It was like, why are we struggling so much? Oh, that's and it's like they finally put it all together. So
Yeah.
that was pretty impressive the way they wrote that and like carried that out.
So I don't know anything about this next one. I've never seen Dexter.
Yes.
If one of you wants to take
So,
it.
Season 4 of Dexter is up there with one of the greatest seasons of any show ever. I will say that. So the premise is Dexter is a serial killer who works as a blood splatter analyst, and he tracks down and finds bad people. So his serial killing is killing bad people.
Right. So he's got this like innate urge to kill.
Yeah.
But his cop father, sort of whatever, stepfather, whatever, he was like, you can't just go around killing people. So let's come up with like, if you have this urge and we can't
Morals.
shake it, let's come up with like a code.
Yeah.
That means like you're only killing
His
bad
dark
people.
passenger. That's what
Yeah,
he calls it.
Yeah. So if you can't shake this and like you're gonna like have to kill people, like I don't want you to go to jail and I don't want you to kill anybody nice. So here's what we're gonna do. And
So every season he winds up the overall story kind of he finds another serial killer that he's kind of matched wits with. And in season 4, he finds a Trinity killer. And this is a huge spoiler alert, but he is like obsessed with him. And he meets the guy. So the guy is just like knows who Dexter is, and they're just like.
Meanwhile, Dexter's trying to blend in this whole time.
Yeah.
And have a normal life and present like a normal person.
So
and have a family and have a job and have all this stuff.
So he's
finally
dating,
kind of getting it together.
He married this woman Rita.
Yes.
Who is just. Oh, he doesn't have like empathy, or he doesn't feel love. He doesn't have like sexual desires. He just like it's all about killing for him.
Jeez.
But so he dates this woman who was in an abusive relationship, so he kind of uses that as like she's not in love with physical contact. So he uses that. But the Trinity killer, Dexter thinks he just got him, or like they let each other go. Something happens where
I forget, but yeah.
But Dexter comes home one day and Rita is dead in a tub. And then the next scene is the Trinity killer just driving down like a highway in Florida with his hair flopping in the wind. And it was just like.
So unexpected.
Your wife had to stop watching the show.
She needed a break. It was crazy.
It was so not what you expected that like Dexter lost.
And he had finally like gotten his life together and like figured out a way.
They had a baby, Harrison.
Yeah.
So.
Does the baby live?
Yeah, the baby like was born. Rita was like by herself, and
well, the baby witnessed it.
Yes, I forgot that. Yes, he's sitting in the
way that they think Dexter became the way he is because he witnessed
his mother dying.
His mother died.
I forgot that wrinkle until right now.
Oh, so good. So it's like there's a new. It's like the same thing that happened to Dexter's happened to his kid, and it's like so stressful, but. Quite unexpected, quite a jaw-dropping moment.
I'm actually wondering now, was that the last episode of the season? I can't remember if something happened with the Trinity Killer or the Trinity Killer got away.
I think he ended up getting him.
Okay.
I don't know. So, anyways, Dexter, pretty intense.
That's sad.
But like.
It was super sad.
And
also unexpected.
There's something. Dexter really, throughout the course of this, he deals with a lot of family stuff. And it's just like, yeah, it's crazy. And it's really one of the most intense, like,
It's a really good show.
Your heart's racing show.
It's cool too because it has the like detective piece, and his sister works for the force homicide. He works for homicide. He's secretly hiding part of himself and like killing people. And like, there's just so much.
Yeah,
it's really
but being a blood splatter analyst, he like knows how to get rid of blood. He's like,
yeah, it's really cool like setup. So if you haven't seen Dexter, we just ruined it for you. But it's a good show.
And then this one. So the reason I said this was,
this is all you.
It's not like it's not Ned Stark. It's not finding out that there's like 2 timelines. It's not is Hopper still alive. All that stuff. The last scene ever of The Sopranos had people losing their minds, like calling cable companies, calling HBO, because the scene just cuts to black. Like, here's this, all this stuff has happened through the course of like 7 seasons. And Tony Soprano is meeting his family at a diner. And like, Don't Stop Believin' starts playing on the jukebox. Tony's wife comes in. Tony's son comes in. His daughter is parking a car. You see her get out of the car, walk towards the restaurant, like just about to open the door. Then you see the bell of the door ring. It looks at Tony Soprano's face. He looks up and then cuts to black. End of everything. And everyone like lost their minds. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, people, it stayed black for like 5 to 10 seconds and then said like created by whoever it was created by. Like, wow. People like, and it's actually something people hate. People absolutely hate how it ended. But then there's all the theories. They didn't want to show Tony Soprano dying. They didn't want, I forget what, there were like 2 other big ones. There were like 3 that were floated out.
Just wanted to leave it like up to you.
Yeah. So there was supposed to be a movie, but James Gandolfini died, so.
Okay.
But yeah, it's totally different than all these, but it like really like shook up the world.
Yeah.
Like when it happened.
And that's the only one that's like the series finale that we have here at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked it up yesterday and I watched it, and I guess like the usual thing is that it always shows the bell in his face, but then it shows you like what he's seeing. So people freaked out because they were like, we didn't get to see what he saw this time. So
but maybe he saw black and he died.
Yeah, so a lot of people like in the comments were like, we're supposed to just assume that he like got hit or something. But there were so many comments that are like, if people are still talking about this like 12 years later, you know that they did something right. Even if people are mad about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Oh, I never noticed the whole like bell ringing than what he saw. Yeah. So to see black, it would make sense if he was going to die. There's a couple other ones in that show, like it being a mob thing, people you don't expect to be killed, being killed and stuff like that. It's really good. Like,
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's just like one of those shows kind of led to like Breaking Bad, where the anti-hero thing.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what your favorite jaw-dropping moment was.
Exactly. Maybe we'll cover those on jaw-dropping number 2.
Where we don't have any Game of Thrones or a whole nother list.
Yeah. All right, so then looking ahead, we have a Stranger Things trailer, which ties in perfectly to what we just saw with the Demogorgon and the American.
I was waiting for the theme to come up.
I know. Whoops.
Again.
What a nice little teaser that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. They dropped kind of the biggest question of season 4. They answered it for us.
Yeah.
Which is shocking in
Huge in a
itself. I
teaser,
thought
yeah.
it would be the last thing they'd ever want people to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to wonder if they're like, just like, it's out there, but there's way more going on here than you can imagine.
Yeah. If that's what they're willing to spoil, you have to assume there's
Well, they kind of
crazy
hinted at it with the after credit thing.
The American.
American, and they were with the Russians and under the mall, and it all made sense. And I feel like they can.
I'm interested to see how he did it, how he like survived the blast.
Yeah. So now that's the whole like question, I guess, revolving around this trailer. Is everyone's like, so like, is it a time jump? Did he go into the Upside Down and they found him? Did they take him? But I mean, no one else. It's hard to like even like think of.
Yeah. A lot of options.
Like the same thing with Russian Doll. It's hard to think of like a good, reasonable reason why this happened, but I'm sure they have one.
Right. I feel like too it gives them a little bit of like they don't have to get hung up on that. They can like get right into whatever they're gonna do. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can. The first scene could be in Russia. Now
they kind of set the table for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't hate the move. I feel like it's good for the show.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Hopper too. They're not going to be like, I don't want to watch it because you know,
that's another. Yeah, people
would have been mad.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably would have tuned in anyway, obviously, but
also it saves like someone that starts watching the day it comes out at 7 in the morning. I go on Twitter at 11 in the morning. I haven't watched it yet, and I see that like Hopper's alive.
Right.
Yeah.
That would like be annoying.
Yeah, or someone put it on their Snapchat.
Or someone put it on their Snapchat.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that being like the first episode, like last scene. If they just get it out of the way or something.
Yeah.
So you wrote here Game of Thrones and actor and teaser. So is that Richard Madden? That the guy with the mustache?
I think it's the guy who trains Arya.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I saw like that's what the internet said, but then when
that's a man with no face.
Yeah, he looked so different. So at first I was like, that can't be him.
I just glanced down here. Building a railway for the Upside Down. What?
I read theories yesterday. None of them were super great, but a lot of people.
Sarah's pre-production work just diving into rabbit holes.
Well, some
what
people
is
were
the thought
saying.
with that?
So basically, if there's an upside down reversal of Russia too, like how everything's the same, just from the upside down, people are saying maybe their logic is now we have a train in the upside down. We can travel through it if it's just flipped.
Because looked like it was going into a cave.
Yeah.
Where stuff has happened in caves before.
Yeah, or like it could go through the portal or.
Oh.
And then some people were like, or maybe they're just building a train.
Yeah.
That's true.
Could just be a prison camp thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they also released, like, they tweeted out, like, here's movies that inspired this season. And it's all, like, prison, like, big jailbreak type of movies. Like, Shawshank is, like, the first one they listed.
Oh.
So then they're like, maybe it's just, they're setting the stage of, like, here's your classic, he's a prisoner, and they're just having him work outside. Like, it's just building up to, like, he's gonna break out or something.
I like that could have a meaning, though. The railway.
Yeah. Because most things, I feel like they've always kind of, everything has, like, a purpose in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
They're always very, like, here's the small detail that you missed.
Right. Nice.
Who knows? I'll keep looking, guys.
That's what this show's about.
And then I do have another trailer.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Also kind of flows in with Stranger Things. I feel like you would like it for some reason. Kind of matches what you and Ari watch, I feel like.
Good.
The like genre.
Women running down the street in blood.
Right up my alley. I like that you have a vibe on what I would be down for.
Dear Diary, go yourself. My name is Sydney. I'm a boring 17-year-old white girl. I'm not special. Yippee.
Might help with your moods.
I keep losing my temper. I don't want to, but it just spills out.
Hey, Sid.
Hey, Stanley Barber. He lives down the street from me.
Shoes. Who needs them?
My best friend is Dina. She's dating Golden Boy Bradley Lewis.
Do you ever smile?
Anyway, my dad died last spring. And now everything's so different. Dear Diary, when does this get easier? It's probably just puberty. I think there might be something wrong with me. What do you mean? I just feel different lately. Everybody feels like a freak sometimes. Yeah, I guess. Oh, God. Dear Diary, what the hell is going on with me?
You can tell me anything. You know that, right?
I want you to attempt to have a normal high school experience.
What a world we live in, Sydney.
Holy shit!
What's he doing?
Just wait.
Hey.
You're right. I love a little sci-fi twist.
Yeah.
Was that
It was kind of like Matilda-y.
interesting? You jumped right to Matilda.
Oh.
You're right, though.
Yeah.
I see that.
Kind of like a sour home life because it seems like her dad died. And
Seems like because she said it.
yeah. So I assume it's a sour home life.
Yeah.
And then mind powers.
Yeah, that was
Get everything in the room spinning.
probably just puberty though.
Bro.
Yeah.
Is that set in the 80s? I couldn't tell.
I don't know.
Because if it is, these Stranger Things guys love the 80s.
Yeah. And the actors keep getting
Yeah.
stuck in the 80s.
That had like a little bit of like a indie feel to me. Kind of like a, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a Sundance film festival.
A con.
Yeah.
Cons. Con.
Which would be kind of, I don't know, kind of cool. Like one
So
of
it's a
those.
show.
It's a show though.
Yeah. Comes out like next week. that
Oh,
is,
cool.
right? February 26th.
Interesting.
Cool.
Maybe we put that on our list of things to watch together once Russian Doll's done.
If I can wait that long.
Yeah, true.
I know, I'm excited to watch it.
All right, maybe we won't. Fine.
Or maybe it'll line up. It might line up almost perfectly. Or no, I think Russian Doll will go a week over when this is out.
Well, then maybe we can. We'll see.
we'll see how the willpower's going.
But that looks exciting. Yeah.
All right, so episodes 4 and 5 of Russian Doll for next week.
Make sure
See
you watch
then.
Sounds good.